Welcome to Curiosity Public Dutch.
Jules.
And that's it. It's so peaceful and quiet without that.
Yeah, what?
But anyway, we're here, guys, with a different kind of episode today. We're going to be taking a look at every single whiskey that's featured in the show Billions. And we're going to be talking about the significance of it.
Yeah.
And we're also going to reveal what the most featured whiskeys are in the show. We'll lead up to that and reveal that at the end. Jules, have you ever seen the show Billions?
I have, but I have to admit, too, I'm really behind. I've only gone through season 1, dude. And even then, that was a few years ago. So my memory is totally shot. Other than, I mean, I love those actors, though. You know, like Damian Lewis, Paul Giamatti. So they're awesome, man.
It is an all-star cast.
Yeah.
And if you've never seen the show, it basically kind of follows around the financial world of Manhattan. Yeah. Follows, from the perspective of the district attorney, the
attorney
federal prosecutor
right.
In that district, and he's kind of keeping tabs on all the hedge funds. And so there's that perspective.
That's Paul Giamatti's character.
Yes, yeah. Chuck Rhodes, known as Chuck Rhodes
Jr.
Yeah, Jr. And then on the other side, you've got Axe, who is a hedge fund manager. He's kind of a rags to riches story.
Played by Damian Lewis.
See, you know the actors. This is good because I don't know anybody's name ever. And so you kind of have these warring factions between the two. Sometimes they're enemies. Sometimes they kind of team up on things. It's a great show.
Well, what spices it up, too, is that Paul Giamatti's character, Wendy... His wife works for Axe. Axe's fund. Yeah,
so there's all kinds of drama. There's all kinds of intrigue. It's a fantastic show, very entertaining. And there's a lot of whiskey featured.
What are they really trying to say?
What are they really trying to say?
Like the finance world and players in it. And plenty of whiskey, like in every shot. Yeah.
So in season 1, episode 4, this is the first time we see a whiskey featured, and it's a doozy.
Dude, they hit it hard early.
Yeah.
Like quick.
Michter's 20.
20 year. Dude, does anyone still have that bottle?
I know, seriously. So Axe getting a pour of that early on in the show kind of sets the stage for what becomes really a showcase in awesome, awesome whiskey. So we're going to start kind of with a number of the ones that just kind of have one-off features in the show, and we're going to work our way up to the most featured whiskey. We'll get there in a second. There's a bunch of things that just kind of make quick cameo appearances. We see Jameson at a random office party. Middleton Very Rare shows up. There's some cognac that makes brief appearances as well, and some Don Julio and some Centenario. So there's some random tequilas interspersed. Bullet Bourbon. There's a really awesome Cavalan that Chuck pours in actually the first season or second season, I think.
Yep.
So there's a lot of...
I actually remember that specific scene only because it was a cool line. He said something where it's, whiskey dipped in milk chocolate or something.
Yeah.
Is what he's telling
He's got a great description of it.
Great description.
Here. Want a taste? Whiskey dipped in milk chocolate.
And I think that's the Vino Barrique Cavalan. It wasn't really clear. It's kind of a dark image. We'll try to pop it up so you guys can see it. But regular Michter's Rye makes an appearance throughout the series. Michter's American Whiskey. So there's a lot of Michters already.
There's a common theme here.
Yeah.
And you know some inside track, apparently. Or maybe.
Dylan and I were at a whiskey event, and you were there too, but I don't know, you kind of disappeared for a period of time. And we were talking to the people at the Michter's booth, and they actually told us that there was a relationship there between the showrunners and somebody at Michter's, and that's how the bottles came to be featured in the show. So
prominently,
very prominently. We'll get to that. Glenlivet's featured as well, both the 12 and I believe the 18 in later seasons, and those are all kind of one-offs. Yeah. There's a couple of bottles that make a few more appearances. So Hibiki Harmony shows up, Lagavulin 16 a couple of times.
That's my jam.
Yeah, Oban 14 shows up a number of times, and then like we mentioned, some of the Michter's 10 also shows up. Michter's Celebration, the massively expensive, super, super special Michter's does make a couple of appearances. I think 3 total appearances in the show.
Give me a Michter's Celebration.
It's $800 a glass, sir.
One, please.
He means one bottle.
So you knew, like, when that one showed up, it's one of those where they had to have a hookup, man. There's no way. Yeah. They had some PA searching the internet, placing bids to get this thing, man.
Or they just got the bottle
Right. Or they made their own. They made
stuck whiskey.
Dude, actually, knowing those production guys, they could have just made the sticker.
Yeah, they might have. Yeah. But then they got the box
or the
and everything.
label.
I mean, that's a lot of work. So Michter's Celebration, we mentioned Don Julio. Don Julio in 1942 actually makes, I think, about 3 appearances in the show. So it's up there in the rank. And Michter's Rye also makes 3 different appearances. All right, Jules, you ready to get to the top 5 featured whiskeys?
I am, but I do want to give like a producer's note here, like congrats to Dutch because he totally nerded out on this.
So,
and he tracked the frequency of how many times these bottles appeared in the shot in every episode.
I was doing a rewatch of the series because I was thinking in my mind, there's a lot of cool whiskey. Maybe we should do a show on this. And I just started keeping track as I was rewatching the whole series. So these numbers are pretty accurate for the most part. And we're going to be doing the top 5. It's really kind of, there's a tie for 5th. So we'll call it 4th and 5th. But let's get right into it. In 5th place, actually technically tied for 4th place. So we'll just call it 4th place. Tied for 4th place, Johnny Walker Black Label.
Whoa. That makes sense, though.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's one of those where it should be on everyone's bar cart. You're going to be mixing that thing, too. You could have it neat. It's fine.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter. It's a great, universal pour.
Easy to find.
Yeah.
It's a little, it's a touch above the mundane.
The mundane, yeah, exactly.
A serviceable
keyword
bottle there for sure. So then tied for 4th, the other one with 4 appearances as well is Glenlivet 18.
Whoa.
Now, if you've watched our channel before, you know that Glenlivet 18, spoiler alert, won our 18-year-old Scotch blind that we did.
Right.
Surprising all of us. And it's a powerhouse of a bottle.
Yeah. So good.
Glenlivet 18. Now, that one is pretty much exclusively consumed by Chuck Rhodes Jr. throughout it.
Oh, right. Yeah. Only Paul Giamatti's character.
Yeah. And I think maybe his dad might have had it once as well, but they only drink the Scotch. So now we're going to be getting to number 3, Michter's 20. With a whopping 5 appearances, always consumed by Axe and his number 2, Wags, and just his team in general.
The whole team, yeah.
They're drinking the Michters. So we're already starting to see this dichotomy here between the Scotch that Chuck and his dad are drinking a lot and the Michters that Axe and the New Money guys are drinking. So what do you think about that? Michters, New Money?
Oh, yeah, they're definitely making a statement there.
Anyway, Michter's 20, extremely rare bourbon.
Dude, it's so rare.
Very expensive. Yeah. I've never had it. I'd love to have it one of these days. Michter's 10, of course, we've had many times, but Michter's 20.
But even 10's getting hard to get, man, and find on the shelf.
Everything's getting hard to get.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's jump quickly to number 2. Very similar to number 3 on this list. Michter's 25. So it's weird. Like after the first couple seasons, they almost switched from Michter's 20 all the time to Michter's 25.
Wow.
I mean, 6 appearances overall. I mean, again, everything we just said about Michter's 20, I'd say the same thing about 25. It's impossible to find. It's ridiculously expensive. It's probably very delicious.
It's funny because I think in one iteration of this idea, it's like we wanted to do a drink through.
Yeah, it's like,
dude, we're not going to get it. We don't have any of these bottles.
We could Photoshop
one. Too crazy, man. But Michter's 25,
yeah, so again, almost exclusively, actually totally exclusively consumed by Axe and his team of, his kind of side in this whole thing. That's their go-to drink throughout the show, Michters. It's always Michters.
And really hard to find, dude.
And hard to find Michters,
rare stuff.
All right, so we get to number 1?
All right. Yeah.
All right, so number 1 on this list, and it should be no surprise to you if you've watched the show. It's actually what we're sipping on here.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Walker Blue Label. Look at that. Beautiful box. It's a beautiful presentation. You see this bottle throughout the show, and it is it's always consumed by Chuck Rhodes Jr. and Chuck Rhodes Sr., his dad. They're kind of like an old money family in New York. They're sitting in their leather chairs at their club, smoking cigars and drinking Blue Label all the time.
And of course, connected to government, so they have the pull.
But this isn't a hard bottle to find.
No, that's
we're drinking it.
Dude, you can go get this at Costco right now. It's available.
You can get it. You can get it under $200.
Right.
It's not crazy expensive the way the Michter's bottles are. So this kind of raises an interesting question in my mind. This is the most featured whiskey on the show. So we saw it over 12 times, 12 different instances when it is featured, and always by Rhodes and his dad, Rhodes Sr., and some of their kind of cadre of characters there.
Right.
Why is Johnny Walker Blue Label associated with the old money guys?
Right.
Is it the Blue Bloods? Are they trying to draw some sort of connection there, you think?
Maybe. I mean, it's a great visual representation of it, first of all. I mean, look at this bottle. And then the name
Old World.
itself. Old World, exactly.
Versus New World.
Great
Michter's
call.
is, bourbon is definitely...
But I mean, Michter's isn't...
It's a New World beverage, though. Bourbon is a New World thing,
true,
right? It's
yes.
from America. It has to be from the United
grand
States.
scheme of it all, right. No, that's a great catch.
So what does it say that
deeper
we
philosophy
are drinking Johnny Blue here?
Only because we can't get the other ones, man.
Fair point. If we had Michter's 25,
we'd be drinking
that.
that. Maybe. Depending on if we haven't finished it already.
Yeah.
No, but that one we would want to just take our time and enjoy, so.
They do have a lot of Johnny Walker, but the most prominently featured whiskey in the entire series, and again, season 7's about to drop.
Right. So who knows how this will skew the numbers,
So
man.
we'll see with season 7, but through seasons 1 through 6, you saw this bottle the most. It represents a lot of things to a lot of people. And to us, I think, like we said, kind of old world, old money.
Well, and you know, honestly, like to be like one of my fondest memories of like when I started getting into spirits, like and actually drinking and then appreciating a spirit though, you know, actually having it neat, all that. Again, this was something my dad would buy when he was on an international trip, you know, to pick it up at the duty free, bring it home, and then we actually cracked it open, you know, shared that together.
This is when you were 7?
Fondest memories, yeah. Not quite Dylan age, but you know.
But a great bottle and a great show, and we'd love to hear from you guys. Have you guys seen Billions? What do you think about all the whiskey featured in it? Anything stick out in your mind? Would you like to see a breakdown of every single season and every single
Say yes,
bottle?
because Dutch worked really hard on his spreadsheet, and it's really impressive, guys.
Jules, take us out.
Tell us what you guys think in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up if you like this episode, or thumbs down. Either way, let us know. Subscribe for more videos from Curiosity Public. If you want to help us out, please consider joining our membership program here on YouTube called Curiosity Private, or help out on Patreon. We also have t-shirts. Links will be in the description. And please listen to our podcast on all the major podcast platforms out there. As always, stay safe, stay healthy.
Stay curious. Smells like Johnny Walker. You know what's funny is I grabbed the Johnny Walker Gold, thinking we could pour this instead, because apparently, according to our blind, we like this better.
I know, dude. What is?
So if you watch the outro and you're thinking about picking up a bottle of Blue Label,
reconsider.
See if you like the gold first. It's a lot cheaper.
When there's a headhunter for Chuck's wife, Wendy, when he's trying to like swoon her, I guess, you know, he talked about
woo her?
Woo her.
We have to milk this cow for all she's worth. We need to be wooed.
I can go for being
love to be wooed.
Just saying, I can go for some wood.
No, we're saying wooed.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. We'll get some wood, we'll build something cool, then we'll go get the money.
That doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about, Charlie. We're talking about being wooed by this corporate guy.
just
No, it's a waste of time. All right,
How are
look.
you gonna be wood?